Hey, my name's Jack. I'm a designer, video maker, and student. More specifically, I'm a part-time UX design master's student at Falmouth University, and today I'm going to be showing you a day in my life. So I'm actually speaking to you at around midday. No, I haven't just woken up. I decided not to include kind of my morning routine and stuff, just because I've done that in a few previous videos, so if you want to see that, then please do go and check those out. I also had an interesting discussion with some colleagues at my full-time job at Activate Studio about how in a lot of day in the life videos, it's actually more based around people's morning routines or evening activities opposed to what they're actually doing in their job or their studies or whatever the focus of the video is meant to be about. So in this video, I'm going to try and do the opposite of that. Please do let me know though, what do you prefer to see in a day in the life video? A quick recap though of what my morning did involve. At 9 AM, I woke up with a slightly sore head after too many Friday night drinks. I then questioned my existence and life choices for a little bit before making myself a coffee, had some breakfast, headed to the gym, had a shower, and now we're here. I'm actually just about to jump on a video call with my supervisor for my new module, so I'm going to go and do that. And then after that call, I'll discuss what I actually do as a UX design student, how I manage my time as a part-time student, and other things that I think are interesting and relevant. Right, I actually really need to go and prep for this meeting now. As you can see, I've got a nice little setup here, perfect for doing my UX design studies and work, as well as doing meetings such as the one I'm about to be on. I've also got my iPad here to make notes as we speak, but I don't want to talk too much about the specific technology and products that I use, because next week I will be making a video about the tech I use as a UX designer. So if that sounds good to you, then please do subscribe, or if you're watching this video more than a week after it was released, it is already on the channel, so do go check it out. One other thing that I want to mention is that the bright pink protein shake is not a requirement to be a UX design student. Very manly though. My meeting just wrapped up. It actually overran quite a lot. It was only meant to be half an hour, but we ended up speaking for like 45 minutes. I'm currently in the process of deciding on the topic for my final project. Basically, to explain how my course is set up, it's made up of 120 credits over the 2 years because it is part-time. Actually, it's made up of 180 credits. I realized after recording that clip that my maths were very wrong, so back to what I was saying before. Each module is worth 30 credits other than the final project, which is worth 60. So I've already completed 4 modules worth 30 credits each, which took place between, I think, around September 2020 up until January this year. Then I've got these 60 credits left to do, which runs from the end of January, so I'm already a couple of weeks in, up until the end of August. As it is my final project, it is very important to me that I pick a topic that I'm very interested in. Currently, I'm bouncing between a ton of different ideas. Part of me is considering designing my own product that I could either pitch or release once my master's is finished. Another part of me is considering taking a look at my portfolio, looking at where I think I have gaps in my experience and trying to fill those and then turn that into a final project-like thing. Another part of me is considering looking at more kind of Web3 and the future of the internet stuff to try and prep myself for the changes that are going to be happening over the next few years. As you can tell, I'm finding it quite hard to decide, so that's what we were discussing. To be honest, I'm still none the wiser what I'm going to do. The proposal isn't actually due for a few months, but obviously time is very valuable, especially while doing a part-time course. That's actually what I'm going to speak about next. I'm just going to go and have some lunch, and then I want to talk about how I manage my time. So, get some more light. Can you put up the leaf? Yes, this is my third coffee of the day. Please don't judge me. It is needed. So, how do I manage my time as a part-time UX design student while also working a full-time job, making YouTube videos, having a social life, being healthy and active, all those things that you're meant to do. How do I fit all that in as well as being a student? The most honest answer to that question is probably that I just don't. I don't always manage to fit all those things in. Sometimes I need to prioritize one thing over the other. For example, if I've got a deadline coming up for my masters, then I probably will have quite a boring weekend. I won't see my friends, I won't make any YouTube videos, I'll just focus on that coursework. However, at the same time, if it's early on in a module and there's not really any pressing deadlines to do, it's more kind of a research phase, I probably won't put in as much time to my masters as I should be. One thing that's always consistent, obviously, is my full-time job, and that is 40 hours a week, working Monday to Friday. I work as a digital product designer for Activate Studio, which is a startup studio based in London. So 40 hours of the week already taken up by my part-time job. Outside of that, I go to the gym every morning. That is for about an hour to an hour 15. Then after work is when I kind of have time to play with. That's when I need to choose between doing my studying, doing YouTube videos, socializing, or just relaxing. So what's recommended for a part-time master's is to spend 20 hours a week studying. To be completely honest, it is very rare that I spend that amount of time. It obviously is possible to do that amount of studying, but if you have other commitments and other things that you want to do, then it is more of a challenge. But let's map out on average what I actually do. So every Tuesday I have a 1-hour webinar. These are optional because they are recorded, so you can watch them at any time. However, obviously there's extra value to attending, being able to ask questions and getting involved in the discussion. Then every Saturday for half an hour I have my supervisor meeting, so that's about an hour and a half already. Then throughout the week I probably do a few hours, maybe let's say about 5 across the week. This could be in a couple of longer spurts, so maybe 2 hours one evening, 3 hours another. And then I also try and do at least some kind of session at the weekend, usually on a Saturday like today, where I've had my supervisor meeting. Then I'm going to spend the rest of the afternoon doing my university work, so maybe 4, 5, 6 hours, and then I still have the evening to go and socialize or chill or do whatever I want. So I'd say that's roughly between kind of 10 and 12 hours, which I think isn't a bad amount of time to spend on this studying. So it's about 2:30 now. So far the only kind of real work I've done was preparing for that meeting and then the meeting itself. I do have plans this evening, so I only have about kind of 4 hours to play with now in terms of doing some studying or doing whatever else that I want to. So the way that I'm going to spend the majority of this afternoon is just probably going to be research. A few of the things I discussed with my supervisor earlier I want to look more into. I also want to kind of lay out the different ideas that I've had for my final project so far, maybe do some pros and cons on each one and try and eliminate some just so I can become a bit more focused with my research. I think it's worth saying that depending where you are in your module, as a designer especially, the kind of work you're doing varies massively. Also what the actual assignment for those modules are. So as I mentioned, right now I'm mainly doing research and planning based work. However, later down the line on this module, most of the work I'll be doing is practical because it'll be either building something, designing something, or whatever based on what I decide to create for my final project. I thought it'd also be quite interesting just to show you quickly the kind of projects that I've worked on so far during my masters. So here we are on my design portfolio website, jackjenkins.co.uk. First project that I worked on during my masters was like a rapid ideation session. So within a 2-week period, we had to come up with an idea for something to create. We had various systems and activities to come up with the idea. Then we went through the UX design process pretty rapidly, which in this case ended with me designing an app for COVID safe travel. Something quite interesting about this is I designed this probably a year and a half ago, before kind of travel was quite common again since COVID. A lot of the features that I actually included in this application have become part of very popular applications such as Skyscanner. So here you can, I actually forgotten kind of what the flow is really, but you get suggestions based on places that are safe. It shows you the risk level of these different places. You can save that as a trip and then also get the guide for what you need to do to enter these certain countries. So as I mentioned, Skyscanner does that. It is interesting for me to see that something that I kind of had the idea for a year or so ago is now in mainstream apps, which obviously feels good. It means the way I think is kind of in line with what people want to see. Another one I created was Interior Match, which basically is a Tinder-inspired prototype, which lets you choose the kind of interior design that you like and then swipe between the different styles or designers and then match with the interior design companies that most fit the style that you're interested in. You'll sense a theme here that a lot of the things that I've made in my degree have been apps. I think just as a UX, UI kind of designer, that's often what you end up doing, just because app design is so on trend both in the job market and just in how UX design is being taught right now. One of the things I'm actually considering doing for my final project is not an application, just because I feel like right now, if you look through my portfolio, it is very app focused. This specific one is basically a tool for people who want to rent out properties to create a very in-depth and interactive tour of their home. So you upload your floor plan, you identify the different rooms within your flat or your property, then you upload images from the different angles within your property, which in turn gives a very detailed listing, which hopefully means when people are looking at your property, they get a much better idea of actually what your property is like. And then I have worked on one other project, which was a group project, which I haven't actually put on my portfolio yet, mainly because I haven't really updated my portfolio since getting my current job last summer, which I think is pretty common for designers to kind of let their portfolio gather a bit of dust while they're not looking for work. It is on my to-do list to keep it a bit more updated, just because I think it is a good thing to do to have your portfolio always up to date. But anyway, I realise at this point I'm very much procrastinating from doing my university work by telling you guys about my previous work. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'm sure if anything interesting comes up while I'm doing that, I will turn the camera on again. So it's just come to about 5 o'clock, and to be honest, I'm pretty studied out at this point. A lot of the time I spent this afternoon was going through the course material. I didn't really mention that earlier, but we do receive kind of videos and articles to read, that kind of thing, which is like independent learning throughout the course. I also was taking a look at this book, which has been recommended to us for reading throughout our final project, and there was actually some pretty relevant things for this kind of phase of deciding what I want to work on, identifying problems to solve, that kind of thing. So yeah, it was definitely worth taking a look. But with the evening drawing in, I'm going to stop studying for the day. I'm gonna have some dinner in a bit, and then I'm heading out for some drinks this evening. I am interested to know what you think of this video. I obviously framed it at the beginning as a day in the life video, but I think what it's more become is just an explainer or a kind of my experience of being a UX design student. So did you find this more useful than a normal day in the life video? Or do you prefer kind of the normal day in the life video structure? Please do let me know, as I want to know what kind of videos people prefer going forward. But if you did enjoy this video, please do give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more from me. Follow me on social media at jackjenkinsyt. And apart from that, see you in the next one.